And we are live. Welcome to A Nice Place to Brew. I'm Jason.
I'm George.
I'm Paulie.
And welcome Chad Lindhall from Nick and Ivy Brewing Company in Lockport, Illinois to the webcast. Welcome, Chad.
Yeah. Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers. So we always start off with one important question on every show. What are you drinking tonight?
Tonight I just cracked open our Locktoberfest.
Oh, okay.
I snagged a couple beers on my way out today, so that was one of them.
It is that Oktoberfest time of year.
Yeah. So.
You're going to win some friends and influence some people with that one, for sure.
Yeah. It may or may not be this guy right here. It is October 15th. We are right at the middle of October. We do our webcast here on the YouTube and Facebook channel every Thursday at 6 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We have a podcast under the same name, A Nice Place to Brew, that's available on all the podcasting platforms. Our website is www.aniceplacetobrew.com, and our social media links are Instagram, Facebook, Twitter at Nice Place to Brew and A Nice Place to Brew. All right. Formalities out of the way. What's everybody else drinking tonight?
George, you start.
Okay, I've got something new, at least to me. It is Southern Tier Nitro Creme Brulee Imperial Milk Stout. So it is a ale brewed with vanilla bean and lots of lactose from what I'm tasting. And about 10% alcohol.
That sounds all kinds of amazing.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And look at that, like the nitro.
Oh,
is
wow.
Really,
that reminds me of like Sammy Smith chocolate milk stout that they do around holiday season.
Who makes that? Sammy Smith?
Yeah. It tastes like a chocolate milkshake. I shit you not.
I tell you, that beer kind of looks like a chocolate milkshake with
right?
that perfect head on it. My gosh. George, is it half as tasty as it looks?
You know, it is pretty tasty. It's very sweet, kind of what you expect from an imperial milk stout. I'm not getting a whole lot of heat. It's just very sweet, very the vanilla comes through a lot.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Paulie, what about you?
I am drinking a Berliner Weiss that we just released today down here at the brewery. Actually, Thursdays are going to be a lot of fun for the podcast because I'll be drinking a brand new beer every Thursday.
That is awesome.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And yeah, it's going to be fun. And then actually, as of tomorrow, my own recipes are going to be on from here on out.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
Right.
And you know what they told me to be? You know what they told me my second beer has got to be? Paulie's truck, because I was talking it up to
on Route 66.
On Route
Yes, all right.
There you go,
time.
we had a regular I was talking to yesterday, and he liked one of their beers that was a hazy. He's like, I've never had a beer that good. I've never had a hazy that good. I'm like, you obviously never had mine. And I just walked away. And the owner's like, yeah, you're gonna do 10. You're gonna do 5 barrels of that next time. Because that's what fermenter is going to be open next to the open fermenter is going to be. So
Yep.
I'll have 10 kegs of it all on hand.
Okay. Yeah, Polly's mic drop. Right, mic drop.
That is
night.
very much a mic drop moment right there for sure.
What about yourself, sir? What are you drinking tonight?
So we two of us have Southern Tier tonight. Southern Tier Warlock, which feels very appropriate for being right in the middle of October. Not the first time I've had this season, but this beer never gets old to me.
Yeah.
So, hey, guys, I got 5 more minutes of work to do. I just had to come over and say hi really quick. So you guys get to know Chad, and I'll be back. I just got to go speed to the floor really quick.
Okay. Right on.
Okay.
All right.
You know where to find us.
Yeah.
So Chad.
So Chad.
We'll
go ahead, Jason.
We'll kind of start from the beginning here. Here at A Nice Place to Brew, the roots of this webcast and podcast are home brewing, and obviously, as George and I's lives in homebrewing have evolved. We've met a lot of people that have graduated, so to speak, from homebrewing to the professional setting.
Yeah.
Is that kind of your backstory? Did it start from homebrewing with you?
Yep. I've homebrewed for 12 or 13 years or so, long time, and it's evolved over those years. And it was like most homebrewers, it was like I always aspired to get here, and I pretty much stumbled into this opportunity and kind of went with it, and doing the best I can to put out really good beers and keep growing and learning more. So,
is this your first role as a commercial brewer?
Yep. And I came
wow.
I came into like, we need someone that knows something about beer, and so that's me. And so it's been from the very start, figuring everything out on the fly, and it's been a pretty steep learning curve, but I think starting to get things figured out pretty well. And it seems like every beer I put out now is like the best beer I've made as of yet. So I'm kind of like riding that wave for a little while here.
Continuous improvement.
Yeah, I mean, right now it's easy to get better, though. I mean, especially after those first few batches that we really struggled equipment-wise, and the process is not what I'm used to either. Not only scaling up, but my homebrew setup. I went from started with extract and all that, and then graduated up to all grain. And actually, that at that time I got my dad into home brewing, which was huge for me because
wow,
when he gets into something, he goes all out. So
okay.
I owe a lot of where I've gotten to him, because he's like, well, if we're gonna make beer, let's make beer. And I only want to drink beer we make. So it turned into 10-gallon all grain batches, like a full 3-vessel Blickman setup. We got 2 conical fermenters, all that, and just kind of went crazy on the homebrew side. But
wow,
it also helped me learn the process of, it emulated somewhat how professional breweries are and how they operate. We had a plate chiller, we used the pump and all that, and hot liquor tank and all that kind of stuff, and kind of had to get creative with our mash tun after we broke our Gatorade jug, or the big water cooler mash tun is what we started with, and we broke that, maxed it out. I'm not sure exactly how, but we crushed our false bottom and broke through the bottom of the.
Oh wow!
So we upgraded to just a big Blickman 25-gallon pot or 20-gallon pot.
Okay.
So to maintain heat, we had to figure that all out, but we got that figured out. So it was cool figuring all that out, which helped a ton with coming into Nick and Ivy. It's a unique system. It's very different. It's very similar to like a brew in a bag. So I had never done that before. So that was figuring that out and how that all works has been interesting.
Can you talk a little bit about that? I know a little bit because I've been to the brewery and I've seen that setup, and it is very unique. Do you want to describe that a little bit?
Sure. So the way the system works is it's pretty much a single vessel. So you've got what ends up being your kettle, and then within that there is a steel or a stainless pipe that goes down in the middle, and then you put a screen mesh base plate on that. And then you mix all your grain in there. So within that becomes your mash tun. And there's a pump, and there's in the bottom, there's like a 5 sprayer field that basically fills the inner part with water, and so it fills that in, and it overflows into the outer part. And that's pretty much your recirculating mash. And
it kind of sounds like, is it now what I'm picturing in my head is kind of like a coffee percolator.
I think sort of similar to something like that. It's basically like a giant, and so you start with your water, you have it filled, there's specific marks I have to use. So I'm a little limited as far as my volumes go, and I'm very limited on how much grain I can use. So to get bigger beers, I've got some creative different ideas to go bigger, but we're just still trying to get this a solid base down. But so yeah, after your mash is done though, after all that recirculating, once that's done, then there's a crane and you crank out and lift the malt tube out of the middle, and you lift it and then and sparge at the same time, and then lift it all the way out, and now it's your boil kettle.
So off the top of your head, do you remember what the system is called?
Yeah, it's sorry, I'm turning on some lights because it's like getting real dark.
much better.
There you go. All right.
So it's Spital is the company that makes it. It's a German company.
It's a Spital system.
Yeah,
okay.
So they've got like their like desktop or countertop systems. This is their, I believe, second largest system that they make, and I think they make this is a 500 liter. They make 1,000 liter as well. But yeah, we've got the 500 liter. We bought it from Casa Humilde in Chicago, who didn't really use it a whole lot, and they bought it from Kinslager. So I've been talking with those guys. They've been really cool. I've talked to them just about figuring this thing out, and because in the beginning it was rough, and like my efficiency was awful, and we had a lot of struggles, but got a lot of that worked out. And getting it figured out, but it's still a very like flying blind through a lot of it. But overall, it's
kind of looks like that.
That's exactly what it looks like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's electric fire. There's coils on the outer, on the outside edge, and then on the inner part as well. And I don't even have to set like a strike temp or anything. I just set what my mash temp is and mash in, and it holds heat. It's okay. You program. There's like a little panel on it, and you program your mash temperature and time, and then your hop schedule and all that, and it basically takes over from there as far as a very quiet, soft beep to let you know it's time to add the next hop addition.
Too soft, maybe.
You never hear it. I mean, I don't even know why they have it with everything else going on. Like you don't hear it.
Okay.
But yeah, it's pretty automated. The Oktoberfest, I did a step mash, and you just tell it what temperatures you want at what times, and it just does it for you. So, nice. So for that, it's way easier than. My old system was propane, so it's adjusting the gas because I would recirculate through basically my old brew kettle with my old copper chiller. I would just recirculate my my mash through that and to maintain heat and recirculate. So
I did
hybrid.
I did something similar recently in order to be able to recirculate and maintain temperature. And and mine is also a propane system for, heating my strike water and boiling. I ended up using a sous vide as my hot liquor tank, to maintain the temperature for the Herms setup.
Oh, okay.
So, but I did try initially using a propane burner, and you're right, maintaining that temperature is challenging when trying to do that.
We got it dialed pretty well where it's like you just have a tiny bit of heat, and I had a thermometer in the water. If we kept it wasn't our hot liquor tank, it was just an extra old, smaller kettle I used to use. If we just kept that at 185, the recirculation seemed to just nail temp and just hold. So that worked out really well on that system for us.
Nice.
Yeah. So, but for this system, when we first got it, we were told anyway that we didn't need a plate chiller, which was like, I think we need a plate chiller, but it's jacketed. So you can see like in that picture, it's like all dimpled. So there's like a jacket around the kettle. So you can put cold water through that. And then there was a very small, like stainless immersion chiller that came with it, like smaller than my homebrew one. So our first 2 batches, we were trying to chill with that.
That must have taken forever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hours. And it was like, this isn't good. This isn't So yeah, the first 2 that were supposed to be hoppier beers is like, well, all those late edition hops that you just forget about.
Yeah.
So, but Kinslager came through with actually their old plate chiller, and it's a 2-stage, awesome plate chiller. Like today, I did a lager and ripped down to like 57 degrees, like no problem. So
wow,
probably 1 or 2 passes, right?
Just once through.
Just one, yeah. There you go.
Well,
jeez.
2-stage, so most is like 30 plates or so of just cold tap water, and then the last 10 or 15, I forget how many plates, is chiller water, which our chillers are all water. We're not using glycol, just because of the chillers that we have aren't rated for glycol. So it gets down to like 35, 37 degrees. So the last bit of that chiller really rips it down nice and cold. So that's looking great.
So, I mean, a question about this brewing system. I don't see a Vorloff arm or anything like that to be able to do a recirculation Vorloff or any kind of sparge at the end. Is it either of those, like to set the grain bed at all once you're done mashing? Or
you mash in, so you stir in all your grain, and then there's like a cloth that goes on top, and then another plate on top of the grain bed, and then it recirculates through the bottom, and that's your whole mash. And then when you're done, you're just lifting it out. So and I'm rinsing as I'm lifting, and right now it's by feel. It's but
wow.
I mean today I so I got a bonus point on my gravity, and I was pretty much right on volume. So but I'm still figuring out my my efficiency and all that, because it's all new. So it's getting better, because in the beginning I'd never done anything like this, and the manual and all the stuff on the system doesn't tell you to do any kind of sparge or anything. It's lift it out, just remove it.
Yeah, I guess with brew-in-a-bag systems, you don't really do a sparge, so that makes sense. So it does raise the question for me is like, what kind of, and you may or may not have, keep record of this, but what kind of like brew house efficiency do you get out of a system like that?
It's getting better. I'd like to be a little bit better, but mid 70s.
That's still really good. Yeah.
And my volumes are I guess finished, beer volumes are finally, because when I wasn't sparging at all, like, we were getting, it's 4 barrels essentially, and we were getting 2.5, maybe 3, not even 3 on it. So it was rough in the beginning. Now with sparging, it's obviously adding a lot of volume back into it, and now we're getting up even on we just did that Tangled Roots collab and double dry hopped it. So there's quite a bit of loss when you have all that, but we still got 13 kegs out of 2 batches. So
so you said you're limited on your gravity and everything, and
mash tun space.
Right. Yeah. So sure, absolutely. So mash tun space. So when you said you had some ideas on being able to do some higher gravity beers, it kind of raises 2 questions in my head. Number one is like, what's the highest gravity that you can normally on a standard brew day do this, and then is the only way I can think of to increase the gravity on a system like this is a longer boil time, which would reduce the amount of liquid that you would have.
Right.
Is that kind of where your thought process is?
No, I mean, yes, but no, because that sounds, it definitely, you know, I played around with that, but double mashing
Okay.
would be something I wanna try it, but I mean, I have no idea how that's gonna go. But basically, you know, mash and then mash with that wort then, and
So two different sets
mash
of grain
Of
beds.
grains.
yeah, basically,
Yeah.
yeah, fill it, mash, pull that, and then mash again with the same liquid.
Have I
This is
just been living under a rock? I've never heard this in conversation before.
It probably because it's not something that any other brewery would really.
It wouldn't
or
be.
want to do. But I mean, my max, I can put 264 pounds of grain in a batch.
Okay.
And, I mean, it's getting me right now with our efficiency. It's getting me in the upper 6% range without you know having to do any boosts with any kind of sugars or extracts or anything.
DME. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to stay away from using that kind of stuff, but you know, it's inevitable in some beers. But yeah, it was I think it was Javier from Casa Milde who threw that one out, that double mashing. So
See,
at some point we're gonna give that a try.
That's
Yeah,
quite an
and
idea.
this is where I'd be interested to talk to, like, run this by Dave real quick, because my only concern with that would be, all right, so first time through you're using water basically, and you're pulling those sugars out and everything. The second time through you're using wort.
Right. Yeah.
And so how is that going to affect starch conversion and things like that? Is it going to be less effective because it's not water that can absorb those sugars and everything?
But I mean, it's still able to, you know. 'Cause, I mean, you can, you know, you could. So it's like in theory.
Yeah, in theory, but I
science on that I'm not enough to know.
Right. Yeah, in theory, I think you're right, but I don't think you're going to run into, like, say you got a 6% the first time. I don't think if you double mash, you're going to get a 12%.
Oh no, I'm fully expecting to not get anywhere near
Yeah.
double, but you know, to get it up to like 9, you know, maybe
9, 10. Yeah. I think that could be possible.
That would be more
I'd be really interested to see how that works for you. Yeah.
That's kind of got the gears turned into my head a little bit too.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't like dove into it other than it was thrown out there as a possibility or an option, and it's like, yeah, it could be. You know, we'll eventually get there. Right now, I mean, my focus is really just getting the system dialed in, and just, you know, and my own skills on this bigger system, and then you know, just getting a really solid foundation of some decent beers, and then, you know, then kind of go into some of the more experimental stuff. You know, there's definitely more beers out there I want to make, and some more unique stuff and bigger stuff. But right now we're just trying to focus on just making a good foundation, good beer to start with, you know, before we start going too crazy.
Did you train on a different pro setup before you joined Nick and Ivy?
Nope.
This
No.
this is all new to you.
Yeah.
Dang,
Wow.
So
you are ballsy. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. That I don't think that would have been my first choice.
yeah, I mean, the opportunity was there. So the way I got connected with Paul was through, like, my brother-in-law's good friend who's friends with, or his wife was friends with someone that was friends with Paul. So it was like this kind of, he wanted to open up a brewery, and she's like, oh, well, so-and-so's friend and his brother-in-law, he homebrews, and he makes some pretty good beer. We're like, we all like it. So he just kind of went with that. And I met him back in like February, I think. And we talked here and there. And then I planned on brewing like a whole thing thing of different beers for him to try. And I got one beer made, or one beer brewed, and then COVID happened, and I had a baby in beginning of April. So had a lot going on, and then so things kind of got pushed back, and then COVID hit, and I was like, well, Brewworks is closed. Like, I can't get more ingredients, but I got this one beer for you. I got one beer. So he gave me like hours of it, and he gave me the job based off of that one single beer. So,
Wow.
All right.
and it wasn't even one that I would have been like the first. It was our Irish, or we have it on tap now, the Irish Red. It's good. I definitely like it, but to me, it's not one to like really showcase like everything that I can do. It's good, but
Well, I mean, that raises the question. You guys are relatively new, so you may not have this hammered out yet, but do you have like any core beers that you're planning on having on tap all the time?
We discussed that, and it's kind of seeing what people like, and that's how we're selling them and everything. So actually the Irish Red has been really popular. It's a Runyon Red. And another one that was a surprise, it's actually a complete accident, was the Honey I Made a Beer. That was actually supposed to be the Irish Red, and I screwed up our first malt order and completely forgot one of the specialty malts in that, and went to brew, and I'm like pulling everything out and start weighing stuff, and like the kettle's filling, and it's not here. I don't have it. And I go back, I look on the order. I'm like, I never ordered it. I can't. It's not going to be that beer now. So on the fly, like right then, I just like was like, all right, well, what else can we do? Because we're going to end up doing that beer. So I got to make something that's different. But I'm already like more than halfway to that beer. So on the fly, I made a bunch of changes and ended up with the Honey I Made a Beer, and it's been pretty popular for a lot of people that aren't necessarily craft beer drinkers. It's just a nice, easy drinking beer. And it's kind of funny because I also keep these. So we brewed it again already. And so this time I made sure to bring some of my honey and throw that in there. So the first time through it was just, I had a lot of honey malt in there, which one of my favorite malts to use, and just brings that nice sweetness without being sugary sweet. It's hard to, it finishes pretty dry, but it has that nice like sweet taste to it. So I'm pretty happy with that beer actually for being a complete accident. So it's got a fun story, I guess. So.
All right.
So Chad, if I'm not mistaken, are you? Is this your first pro job? Or are you a home brewer that gone pro?
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, we already hit that, Paulie.
I was back working, all right? I'm here by myself. I don't get no help.
Yeah,
Chad can relate.
All day today, I had some fun stuff. Did you know that enough steam will set off a smoke detector?
Yeah, I know. I did that. I did that the other day.
Yeah, I did that today.
As long as
tomorrow.
As long as it doesn't set off a sprinkler or halon system, I think you're okay.
Yeah, luckily those did not go off, but it definitely set off the smoke detector. And there's apartments above us, so it was
okay.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, fire department came, and they saw. So we struggle with our ventilation. It's just the system just doesn't draw enough. So it gets a little steamy in there when we're boiling. But yeah, it was real bad today. I don't know if it's just because it's drier out and you're just getting more steam, but it was bad. So there's a smoke detector right there. So talk to the fire department. They're going to have the fire protection people come and change it out. So it'll be a heat detector. So hopefully I don't set that one off.
Okay.
I'll set it off again tomorrow. I'm almost sure of it. And I told them I'd have beer out ready for them when they show up. So,
I'm sure they felt real good about that.
So that was a fun part of my day today.
Okay.
Today, this
So-
week was the first time I grew.
So I'm going to steer this in a different direction. So we started the podcast here at Nice Place to Brew goes back to about 2015. George and I had done this for several years. This morphed into a webcast around the beginning of the quarantine, and we thought this would be a great platform for discussion with other home brewers and people in the craft brew scene like you. At that same time, you not only were going through a career change, going into brewing with Nick and Ivy, but you were doing so at like the most complicated time ever, being in the middle of COVID.
Yep.
Can you talk a little bit about? I mean, what was that like in the very first days?
Well, I mean, even before they were open and they were still just building, it was, kind of these crazy times. We're home with a newborn, and we were being cautious and just like hunkered down at home, hanging out, and it's like I wanted to be more a part of what was going on, but like I'd stopped in there a couple of times, but it's like at that time we just didn't know what was going on with everything, so it was kind of weird. So then fast forward to him and I just stayed in contact, and then it's like, yeah, we're like ready to go. We need to get an order together, and it's like so I had to figure that out, and who to order from, how to order it, what are we brewing, all that kind of stuff. And then so we did that, and I screwed up that very first order. And
So was it a matter of you knew you had the job, but you didn't know exactly when you were going to be there making your first beer?
Yeah, sort of. So it was like I had been talking to him, and I saw he was looking at some other locations here and there, and like we just kind of stayed in contact. But it was like this, especially once everything went crazy and he didn't have this place yet, and it was like I had no idea. But at the time, I was only working part-time, so it was just kind of like, yeah, I'm gonna hang with this and see where it goes, and help out wherever I can or however I can. But he was more just at that time looking to make sure he has someone that could make beer for him. So once he had that kind of figured out, I think he just focused on getting the equipment, which we were actually, the original plan was a completely different system that was I'm very, very glad we did not go with.
Okay, so you were involved in that process.
It kept in the loop more.
Okay, all right.
I didn't have a say in like, no, let's not buy this.
Okay.
It's his money, it's not mine. So,
Sure,
I give him opinions, but again, I don't really know. I talked to a few people. Actually, I talked to, back when he was still at Brewworks, was Dave Ziebel, who I think was at Route 66 for a time.
Yeah. Now he's at
I talked to him for a bit about it was Brewhog was the manufacturer, and I was really leaning on at that point. He was going to fly me out to Vancouver, where their headquarters are, and we get to like go through a brew day with them on the system. But that system was even more unique than this one. It was literally all in one. Your mash tun became your kettle, which became your fermenter.
Wow. So it's kind of like a big giant robo brewer anvil system.
That's exactly the picture I had.
You needed.
Me too, but it feels limiting because you can only do one thing at a time.
Well, but you could buy multiples, and the most
sure.
the expensive part, I guess, was like the just the mash tun part, and then I can't remember all the details with it, but it was like I don't know about this. This is like completely uncharted territory, and you needed really high ceilings because you're brewing in a conical fermenter essentially. So you needed high ceilings to then pull that tall pipe out. So his original location was I was going to be like in the basement. They were going to cut the floor out, and it was going to be rough because I had to like, I don't know, get the grain downstairs into this basement of this whole building, and it would have been tough. But luckily, that fell through because of COVID, and then this other system became available, or he heard about it. So we got we got all of it from Coffee Mill Day, and it's been good. So it's definitely different. It's unique, but
So when it comes to the fermenters, do you just have like traditional conical fermenters?
yeah, 8-barrel. We have 4
Okay.
8-barrel fermenters. So what's tough is I have to double brew, and I can't.
To fill
Right.
up, yeah.
Yeah, well, we learned the hard way because the first few batches, I'm like, hey, how about we just do half batches? We'll just do single batches into them. That way, if they're terrible, we're only getting rid of 4-ish barrels and not 8. So I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. That's smart. Let's do that. Well, the cooling jackets, you don't get into the second cooling zone of the cooling jacket, so the bottom one down in the cone is tiny compared to the upper one.
Right.
So we struggled with temperature control, but we were struggling with chilling. So I was transferring because I finally was just giving up. I wasn't getting any colder than like 105 degrees. So I transferred into the fermenter at 105 and look, all right, we're just going to wait to pitch. I don't know what to do. And then it chilled. The next day it was cool enough to pitch, but it was still warm.
Yeah.
But now it's, none of that's an issue. But
Isn't there an oxygen issue with that much headspace too?
Could be.
it could be. Yeah, it's possible. But
So you're and I've been talking with a couple different commercial brewers about this recently, and I'm interested in their takes on it. So I'm wondering what you guys are doing. Are you doing just like a full commercial pitch of yeast? Are you creating a starter? Do you guys have cultures that you are growing? Like, what is your yeast plan?
Right now it's a very simple plan of dry yeast. And
okay, just a full commercial pitch right in the fermenter?
Yeah, just hydrate and pitch.
Dry pitch?
I did today.
Okay, all right.
Normally, every other batch, I've got a big flask and I've hydrated before I pitched. But
okay,
I was just I don't know. I've always done that. Actually, I haven't used dry yeast in a real long time home brewing. I've been pretty much all liquid, and then doing starters and stuff. So I was pretty much just automatic, like, well, we got to hydrate it. So I was reading more about it, and I was like, well, you can just sprinkle it on top, and it does pretty well. So, and then but what's cool is with doing the four barrels a day batches, I only have to pitch for the 4-barrel. And then oxygenate today as well. And then after tomorrow, I can just transfer it over and I'm good to go. I don't need, the yeast is already, so it's like today's was like a giant starter for tomorrow.
Yeah, so you're just depending on the buildup of yeast in the original batch to feed the second batch.
Yeah, and I've already, it's pretty much every batch there's been already a lot of activity by the time the next beer is going in. So it seems to be working well for now. So
no, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I was unsure with oxygenating the second round, but at first, but now it's like, no, I just oxygenate the first round through and it's good to go. So so it's funny because we don't really save money doing it that way because most of the commercial, like if you're buying dry yeast, you get a 500 gram packet of it. Well, that's perfect for like 8 barrels. So it's like,
right. Okay.
If I'm using that same yeast that week, I could save the other half of the bag and pitch that. But it's like any longer, I don't know. Like I don't have a good way to seal that bag back up, and it's for what it costs. It's like rather not risk it. But
makes sense.
So we got a comment here in the YouTube chat from our friend Sean, and Sean's comment is most dry yeast is savage. USO5 and SO4, we just toss it in dry and it goes to work.
Yep, that's a lot of what we use. USO5, SO4, S33. So yeah, it's. I mean, I'm learning. I'm always more cautious, I guess, than I guess have to be, but I'd rather get it right. And even if it is maybe a little extra step, but yeah.
I think that's a very healthy place to be. I mean, considering that a lot of this is new. I mean, you have a non-conventional system that you're brewing on. So yeah, I would absolutely take that as those precautionary steps.
Yeah. So it's it's been interesting. So
Oh, wow.
but
Oops.
George just disappeared into an icon that we have not seen before. Wow.
yeah.
There
I was looking at something and it's fixing to try something and
All
it
right,
did not.
So how do I get my own
cooperate.
backdrop like that? That's awesome.
Well, hang on, let me see if it'll work this time. There it goes.
Oh.
See, yeah. Right.
What is that, George? Where's that?
It's called chroma cam, and
Yeah, I can
so
see that.
all right.
Chroma cam. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna sit out here on the beach for a while. So yeah.
It's like Wayne's World.
I should have been. We've been doing this for almost a year now, man. I should have been doing this the whole time.
So yeah, no, dry yeast is really good for that. Now, do you? My only concern with using dry yeast and from what I understand, in recent times, it's actually gotten better about this. Is not being able to have some of the variety that you can have with the wet yeast, and especially if you want to get something that really pulls out some distinct esters or anything like that. So, do you? Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah. You're speaking my language, because that's
Okay.
now, again, like we're working on this foundation really at this point. Still, I feel like I'm just trying to make some really solid, good beers. But I'm a huge fan of Omega yeast. That was like my go-to for all home brewing, and that's definitely where I want to go. The price point is what's holding back the decision to go with that. So
Okay.
it's definitely we're definitely going to. It's just right now being small and startup, it's tough. So we have to be somewhat economical right now. So it's definitely on the list to get into more. But yeah, we're just not quite ready to. And that's actually something that I struggle with for, say we did that Belgian ale, and it's missing a lot of those yeast characteristics, because I couldn't get the Belgian yeast I wanted because it was ordered, and it wasn't like, oh, it'll be a week or two late. No, it's like we don't know when we're getting it. It's like, crap. So I got to come up with something else. So it's there, but not as pronounced as it should be.
Yeah. See, this is where I'm with you, and I'm concerned about that, because like they have the BE 134, which is a Belgian saison style.
Yeah.
That's the one you ordered. All right, and it wasn't in yet, but
maybe it was a different one. It was a BE. It was a 224.
there's a 256.
It might have been
The Abbey.
No, no, it was probably that first one. Sorry, I'm
Okay.
numbers and
That's all right. But, so yes, that is a thing.
Mhm.
But it's like when you're talking about like Y yeast or white labs or things or ones like that, like Omega, if they ever wanted to come by, is, you can get very specific styles and very specific types of different, say, Belgian yeast, because I'm a big Belgian beer fan. But with this, you're limited to, well, you have the Belgian saison and you have the Abbey, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, okay. So you think in the future you guys might start, especially for some of the ones where you need some of those distinct esters, you might move over to the.
Yeah, we'll just have to source it somewhere else. It was one of those. It was like our second. Yeah, it was I think our second round of brewing. So like when I order, I'm ordering for like basically 4 beers, which will be 8 brew days. And that's all we have space for, not only in the fermenters, but storage area. Like I can't take any more grain than that. So I believe that one might have been on the 3rd round, but either way, it was still relatively new to the whole deal. I mean, I still am. I still have so much more to learn, but it was like I subbed with I forget which one it was I subbed with, and it's somewhat there, but it's not very pronounced. So it's definitely something that we struggle with because I've been using a few different, but there's only so many different ones that I can get right now. Through the dry yeast and through my supplier. So we definitely need to branch out and get some of those different varieties.
Right.
So what yeast were you looking for there? I missed out when you talk about that Belgian. Because you need 256. I got it in my fridge. I can bring it over and trade you.
Oh yeah. Well, that was like that beer is almost gone now.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I think it was 256. It was the I can't remember, but it was whatever it was. It was back order. It's like, all right, well, I got to do something else. So
okay, gotcha. That makes sense.
And Holly, I thought for a second you were going to say you had it in stock at the world famous Brew and Grow in Bolingbrook, Illinois.
I got more things to worry about than what's going on at Brew and Grow right now.
Wow!
I actually bought my first kettle from Brew and Grow.
Yeah.
Yeah, like my
Nice.
first actual graduated from the kitchen stove or the kitchen pots to a legit pot I got at Brew and Grow.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's what I was using for my keeping my mash warm. The hot water pot for that. It was that pot. So I got a lot of use out of it.
Nice.
So, how long did you have a lot of anxiety when you did your very first brew day?
Oh, absolutely. The weekly not even just trying to figure out what I'm going to order, what I'm going to brew. And then even after I brewed it, it's like, well, now what am I going to brew? What am I doing? I'm way over my head.
Yeah, I was the same thing. I had my first solo brew day yesterday without Dustin, who's now at Hale.
Yeah.
And I was a hot mess. And all of a sudden I'm outside milling grain, and who shows up? Mr. McTee. Thank you, Sean. He was my moral support the whole day yesterday. And so I came in today feeling a lot better about myself, except for I screwed up my temperature control and my work is down to 34 degrees. So now I'm trying to raise that right now. I was like, at least it's like not like 90 and I killed all my yeast.
Yeah, it's better to be cold than hot, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So
but yeah, it was a lot of fun. I know my anxiety is going down every day. Every day I'm here. It keeps going. So
I still feel like that not that I don't belong, but like that I don't know that I'm the most deserving for where I'm at. There's a lot of other people out there that are really, really good at what they're doing and know way more than I do. So I just feel like I need to kind of prove myself in a sense, like at least I don't know. I'm trying really hard to put out the best beer we can, and I'm really passionate about it and doing everything I can to make awesome beer, because that's what I like, and my favorite thing is when people are enjoying the beer I made, because that's
exactly.
I think your story speaks to a lot of people, because I think every home brewer out there that has not graduated to commercial brewing, has their own version of a dream of graduating in the same way that you did. That you made a homebrewed beer that was so good that you got a job doing what it was that you wanted to do.
Yeah,
I think that's awesome. And I know that doesn't happen every day, and I know obviously the overall market right now, just in 2020 with everything that's happening, that's more and more difficult. And the fact that happened for you the way that it did, I think is very, very cool.
Yeah, it's crazy. And what's funny is why that beer was picked on my list was so way back when my dad and I were brewing like a ton. We had 7 taps. That so yeah, we had 3 kegerator, 3 2-tap kegerators, and then like a picnic tap.
So you guys were all about this.
Yeah. So one of those 2-tappers is mine, and then he's got 4 still at their house, which is where we would brew. And then we could set up like a picnic tapper, and so we would have these like big parties where we'd just have like a bunch of people over, and he'd like, smoke a bunch of like brisket or pork shoulder or whatever. And we'd have all this food and stuff, and so the very first one was huge, and we had actually 3 professional brewers at that party. We had Brando and Steve from Workforce, and Brandon Banbury, who was Hailstorm, and so anyway, all 3 of them were there, and Steve like gave me like one of the compliments that like meant the most to me, I think, because he really enjoyed that same Irish Red, and was just like, it's not really a style that like I would necessarily go for. He's like, I keep going back to that beer. He's like, it's really something about it. I just really like it, and it like stuck with me. That was years ago, and stuck with me. So I was like, I'm gonna do that beer, and here we are. So I don't know if that really means anything, like how all that works, but yeah. So.
I mean, that's always great to hear. I will say, when you said smoke a bunch of, and then you stopped there for a second, I've been spending too much time with Paulie because I didn't think you were going for brisket.
No,
I thought you were going a different direction.
All right, let me bring George back to earth. I knew exactly where you were going with that. When you said you were having big parties, the brisket is a much more fitting option there.
Yeah. So. What can I say?
Paulie's not here to defend himself. I feel
he's right there.
Oh, he's right. Okay, I didn't. The picture's been frozen for the last several minutes.
I know. I got to figure this out. But this is actually last week. The laptop I was using was Uncle Rick's because he was fine, and this is my work computer now that I'm going to leave here at the brewery. So
okay.
I got to get the camera fixing for those days that when I'm here. Like I tried to get back home, but just doing it like I mistiming everything. It's like we were doing everything by yourself. I wasn't, by the time the boil was done, I still had to run sanitizer through all my lines and all that because I did 2 turns a day myself. So between yesterday and today, and so I during the boil start. Like, all right, I got some time to get some lunch. And then Tina came by and we started talking. And all of a sudden I look, I'm like, shit, I got 15 minutes to get everything done. Oh, here we go. It's like yesterday. But I'm
so just make this a regular thing, man. Just do the Thursday show from the brewery.
Yeah, actually wouldn't be bad. I can go home right afterwards too.
Sure.
Or go to Chicago Street, whichever I decide to do, if they're ever open. Oh, speaking of downtown, you would I'm gonna wait till George gets here, but so my first solo brew day with Sean was awesome. I could just, I'm looking on the comments. Yeah, I nailed my OG 2 days in a row. It was supposed to be 10:54 and it came out at 10:60 both days.
Boom.
Now, if I wouldn't have done the fuck up and chilled my beer down to 34 degrees this morning, I'd be fermenting right now.
Was Sean there start to finish with you?
He pretty much slept like mid-boil. Like when he was there, I was like, I set up the whole line. Maybe when next time I'll do it tomorrow. I'll take some pictures. I'll send it to you, Jason. It's weird because it's like I come out of my kettle into my pump, into my plate chiller, and then we oxygenate in line. So I have an inline oxygenation, and then that big tree with all the valves and the sight glasses and all that.
Yeah.
So. But it was funny because yesterday, all the mistakes I made yesterday, I made up for them today, which was pretty badass because I remembered to do it.
That's awesome. Sean, you're the man, dude. That's awesome. Sean from Mad Hatchet Brewing out of Shorewood, Illinois.
And then, did you make the meeting last night, Jason?
What's that?
Did you make to the meeting last night?
No.
Oh, okay. Because Jason James was messing with me. He's like, "Are you still brewing? Sean left you a couple hours ago." I'm like, "I'm just kidding. I'm getting cleaned up." And so all of a sudden, like I get there, I text him, I get there, I walk in, I had a standing ovation from everybody that was there, and it was really cool.
Rightfully so.
Yep.
Well deserved.
Yep. And tomorrow's gonna be my
Absolutely.
very first recipe. Well,
Did anyone get a video of that?
what
Talking off topic. That's oh man, I feel horrible. I wasn't there for that standing ovation.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I didn't get there till like 7:30 or 8:30, actually, like 8:15 by the time I finally got there.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Well, I was here till about 7:40. Well, I could have left him. Bitterman showed up. He wanted to meet the owners, so John Bitterman came up. So
Okay.
of course I got to stop. He's wanting to talk to me as I'm trying to clean and get the hell out of there, and then I had to sit and have a beer with him.
Mhm.
So by the time that was all said and done, it was probably about 8:15 by the time I got up there. And then after me and Jason sat and talked for a couple hours after everybody left, I went down to have one more nightcap at my local bar at Chicago Street, the dive down the street, Judges. And you know what they had yesterday? Malort Fest. This place was packed. Everybody's doing shots of Malort. They got raffles, giving away T-shirts. They got T-shirts that made up a
Is this-
with Metallica writing and everything.
All right. So let me ask about that. Was this a Chicago show? Oh!
Always have it on hand.
Why, Chad? Why?
We have a ride along sometimes on this show. A guy from New York, and Jason sent him a bottle of Malort.
I did.
With the express condition that the first time he tries it, it's on the show, and it was as entertaining as you would expect it to be.
Yeah. It's a classic moment of this webcast.
Yeah.
All
right.
When he made his wife take a shot of it too, that was even
She
better.
did. Yeah, right
She
after
did.
him.
She's a trooper.
Yeah. So, Paulie, was this an event that Chicago Street was doing on their own, or is this some Chicago area-wide event that I don't know about?
No, this was Judges. Have you ever been to the dive bar, Judges?
Oh, no, I've not. Okay.
Yeah, dive bar around the corner. Like that's kind of been my go-to place nowadays. Like, because sometimes I don't like if the pubs close. Like I gotta, I still want to have a drink, and I'm not gonna go to. I could go to Juliet's, but it's a little too ritzy ditzy for me. And Judges is a downtown dive bar.
Okay.
So they
right.
got some craft beer in there.
Right when you said Judges, my brain went to, wait, who the fuck is judging Malort shots?
And why?
Right.
Jason, can you click that last comment there? I want that to pop up on the screen real quick.
Yes, I can. I could not have said that better, Sean.
It's my heritage, so like I have to like it. I think I do like it. Like it's unrelenting bitterness, but I actually like appreciate it for that in a weird way. But I very Scandinavian background, so it's like it's kind of aquavit. I got a bottle of that down in the freezer. That's good stuff too. And there was.
What is Lindahl? Is that Swedish?
Yeah.
Right on. Okay.
Yeah. Like let's see, like my grandparents are from Sweden. Like my dad's cousins live in Sweden, that kind of thing. So.
Oh wow.
Okay. Yeah. And then my mom's mostly Norwegian, so it's like that's.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Both sides. All right.
Yeah.
I'm Norwegian too. I'm Norwegian too, Chad. So I like you already. I can't wait to meet you in person.
Oh, yeah.
Right on.
I went to see John Oliver in concert one time in Chicago, and he comes out. Yep, he comes out on stage, and he starts talking, and just before he goes into his set, he starts talking to the crowd, and he gets like halfway through one sentence and he just stops and looks at everybody and goes, "What the hell is Malort? I have like 3 bottles of it back here." And the whole place just erupted in laughter because everybody knows exactly why he has 3 bottles, because it's it's a tradition just to subject non-Chicago people to it. But he was very confused and I'm sure angry later.
Once you tried it,
Huh?
once he tried it,
I'm sure he was angry later. Yes, when he tried it.
I think it was Few Spirits did best. They originally called it Malort, but they ended up having to change it to Best was the name of it. But it's basically Malort, but it's 50%, and it was that stuff was rough. Like it made Malort taste smooth. Like it was.
Did you say 50% alcohol?
Yeah.
Boy,
I mean, this is what 35. You did one similar, same style of sweet liqueur, and it was 50%. It was rough. Like I had a small bottle of it, and it lasted a while. That was a fun one with the people because it looked good. It was clear, and it was a really cool looking little bottle. And it was like, seriously, you could go back to Malort, and it's like, oh, this is smooth.
What's the flavor profile? What does it taste like?
Very strong, like black licorice, and then that's just wormwood, like unrelenting bitter wormwood. Delicious.
Wow.
Delicious.
Yeah.
That's a whole different animal than Malort.
Oh well,
yeah.
Well, I mean that's pretty much Malort too. I mean
that's the horrible taste in Malort. It's the wormwood.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we've had conversations about what the flavor profile of Malort is, and I think George described it best. The flavor can be described as fermented lemongrass.
That's my thought.
Yeah.
I can see that, but
yeah,
with like a insanely huge punch of bitterness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But see, like, all right. So one time I had absinthe, which also has wormwood in it.
Yeah.
But that also has a bunch of other stuff to balance that flavor.
Yeah. And
so
they do it
actually
on
pretty
a turf
tasty.
cube and all that. So at least
this one, they didn't do that. We didn't do that with this one.
Okay.
But, it was just straight absinthe, which I know sounds worse, but it's but anyway, that is and it wasn't like the pure absinthe, with the hallucinogenics, like those properties were taken out. So
is that still illegal?
Yes, it is.
Hallucinogen.
Yeah.
It is. Okay. All right.
Yeah, it is, at least in this country. But yeah, so but that is balanced, whereas like I feel like Malort to me is like a really high ABV beer that
He's got a point.
Trust me, Sean. Malort is like a really high ABV beer that is just way too hot. You have way too much alcohol, but it's like way too much bitter. And it's not quite hop bitter. It's not balanced, is what I'm saying.
No, it's not at all. I'm not claiming it to be anything more than what it is. It's something like about because it is this unrelenting bitterness that just hits and just doesn't go away, that like I find an appreciation for it. I don't know if I've just gotten suckered into drinking it too many times. I don't know.
Okay.
This is so mean to beer. Well said, Randy.
Yeah. Oh man.
Anyway, on to beer.
We got great participation from the
beer.
listeners today. This is awesome. You're right. Yes, we've sidetracked enough.
Oh man.
So what's? Go ahead, George.
I was gonna say, I to give an update. I know I said last week that this weekend I was probably gonna start in on my always money in the banana stand Belgian milk stout.
Yes, we talked
I
about
did-
esters earlier, and Chad, I'd love to get your take on this. George has an interesting idea for his next project.
Let's hear it.
Yeah. So I'm going to make a milk stout with probably a little bit of cocoa nibs as well to get a little bit of extra chocolate flavor. But then I want to make it with a really aggressive, probably slightly underpitched Belgian yeast to really pull out those banana esters.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I want to get like a chocolate banana kind of flavor in the beer. That's my goal.
Okay.
I think it's going to. I think I'm not gonna be able to do it this weekend, and I'm gonna have to do it once I get back from Florida. So it's gonna be probably in December when I make it. I mean, no, sorry, November when I make it. But that is. But I didn't. I know I've been talking about it, so I wanted to make sure that I didn't set the table too early for that. So.
You know,
Yeah,
funny,
it sounds interesting. Like it's, I mean, it would be.
I have no idea if it's going to work or not. Yeah.
It'd be a cool way to bring in like the banana notes without being some other ridiculous way. I mean, it seems
Right.
like a solid way to have it there and not be like overpowering or over the top. It's just the way it develops. Like it if it works, that sounds like it would be awesome. Obviously, if it works, it would be
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, and I've been considering is like trying to figure out which specific yeast like Delirium Tremens uses for their Belgium.
Yeah.
For the Tremens. Because that is exactly the kind of ester and note that I'm looking for that comes through in that beer.
Right. Yeah.
Is that, just really nice and smooth banana ester. So we'll see. That is, I'm still doing some research on that.
actually,
So-
if I'm not mistaken, George, I believe Y yeast, they propagated delirium tremens yeast. You might want to cross-reference that. I could probably one of their
Okay.
one of their yeast profiles is a copy of delirium tremens, and
Is it?
yeah, I'm not if I'm not I am almost positive. I'll check tomorrow or Saturday when I go to work, go to Brew and Grow, and I'll find out. And I'll text you. But to add on to your thing, it's kind of funny you talk about that. I tried that a few years ago, a chocolate banana, but I made a porter. I just did a porter recipe with Hefeweizen yeast, and that's what I got. It came out pretty good. And the next time we tried doing it again, we actually put real bananas in, and it was just very subtle. It wasn't enough. So
Okay.
that's another
Yeah.
suggestion. If you like Hefeweizens,
I am fully prepared to cheat if it doesn't work with just the esters. And the homebrew shop down by my in-laws actually has banana extract. So if I try it, once it's done fermenting and everything, and I don't get the banana out of the esters before I throw it in my keg, I'll throw in some banana extract to get that flavor. I'm fully prepared to cheat.
You're
but
committed
I am
to
trying
that.
to do this. Oh yeah. So yeah, for sure. But we'll see. Now, okay, so I just pulled up Belgian Delirium Tremens Y yeast. I did a search for that, and the first thing that came up, I'm not sure if this is what you're referring to, Paulie. They say the strains to use for Belgian strong ale, which is what Delirium Tremens comes into, is 1388 Belgian strong ale yeast,
yep.
or 3522 Belgian Ardennes.
Oh, I think it's the Ardennes. I want to say it's the Ardennes.
The Ardennes? Okay.
Yeah, you know
Which
what?
is-
I got to talk to Dave about that because I've heard Dave tried that a couple times. Dave,
Okay.
Betty was on last week. That yeast is notorious for getting stuck in mid fermentation.
Really?
Yes, delirium tremens is, that Ardennes is very notorious for getting stuck at like right in the mid freaking fermentation. It'll just stop on you.
Is that the Trappist ale yeast?
Oh,
I don't think so.
No. Okay.
No, I don't think the Ardennes is a Trappist.
yeah, but I do remember
Uh,
'cause we actually have a chart at home at Brew and Grow
Yeah.
that has all the yeast from Y yeast and where they came from. Who they
Okay.
propagated them from. Like Sierra Nevadas, like 1056 and '05 and all that. That's
I mean, so where can you find the map of yeasts? At the
At
world famous
world
Brew and
famous
Grow in Bolingbrook, Illinois. Exactly.
Yeah.
Every time I see that, I laugh. It's funny. Yeah, and I forgot what I was saying. Thanks. In your tagline.
That's
I know. I'm being a horrible host. So-
honestly, the Ardennes might work out because I was probably going to have to do it in my guest room, which wouldn't afford me quite the temperature control I'm looking for. But the temperature range for the Ardennes yeast is actually pretty wide. It's 65 to 76. So that would, afford that pretty well.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. Oh, yeah. The Sierra Nevada is at 05 1056 and 00001. Their house yeast.
That's all that.
Okay.
Yeah. That was my train of thought. We're talking about yeast, right? So,
Got it.
Okay.
Got it.
and I'm a big fan of 05 because it's so much easier. You don't have to do nothing. Just sprinkle that shit right on top of it.
Yeah,
Call it a
that's
day.
it.
I'm learning more and more of that.
That's one of our that's what I'm using in most of our just ales is 05.
Yep.
It's nice.
Gets it done.
just gets out of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then actually, on the homebrew side, those little packets of 05 actually has more yeast cells than 1056 does, and it has a longer shelf life.
Is that true?
That is
That is
true.
very
Dry
true.
packet?
Dry.
Mhm.
Wow.
When I learned that's when I quit using 1056. To be honest with you,
Well, I mean, it's also you're saving money too.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's a nice hack.
Honestly, there's limitations, like I said, to dry yeast, but if I'm going to use 1056, I might as well use US05. It's the same damn thing,
Agreed.
Yep.
Agreed.
And so. So, Jason, what's next on your list, man? Gotta
My big and dark.
You're big and dark? Okay, when are you doing that?
Not first weekend in November, second weekend in November. I don't even have a recipe yet. I'm not gonna lie.
Come on.
Yeah.
Jason, let's work on that together. We'll sit down one day and we'll work on that together.
Let's do it.
I got Beersmith Pro now, so
All right. Okay. I owe you a visit to
fancy.
the brewery, so we can. I'll tell you what. Let's lock those two together. We'll make a visit out there and we'll talk about the recipe.
yeah, just let me know. I'm there on Sundays right now because my days off are gonna. I'm there on Sunday now.
You are there on Sunday or are not?
I will be for a while. For the first couple months, I will be.
Okay. All right. You got it.
Just because I'm getting to know all the regulars and everything. So, and they like it. They like to see the brewer in there working. Like last week, I was cleaning. Sunday, I was cleaning kegs all fucking day.
Are you there? How about you, Chad? Do you make that a practice? Do you hang out outside of work?
I really would. I'm in this mode now with COVID and everything. It's hard because we have 3 little kids here. My wife.
You have 3 little. Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah, that's
3 under. Our oldest isn't even 4 yet.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's amazing. They're here too, by the way. This is strange. They're all
They're being remarkably quiet.
remarkable. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They actually were on. They came in and they just went upstairs. This is not normal. I mean, I hear them banging around up there, but
Yeah.
not too bad. But anyway, so my wife's parents watch our kids and they're real high risk. So I would love to be around and meet more people and interact more, but it's right now it's I just kind of go in early and I'm out when they open. So kind of
Right.
incognito behind the scenes. But that hopefully, obviously we'll change. There's a lot of cool stuff we have been talking about with other businesses in Lockport as well, because it's a really cool place. Like I live in Oswego, and I'd been to Lockport, but I hadn't really spent a whole lot of time there. And the city's been awesome with the whole shutdown for Will County. That was our soft opening week. So that was a little rough that we had one night where we were allowed to have people inside. And after that, everything had to be outside. So the city was awesome with all that. And then just the other businesses are all excited for us being there. We have Tangled Roots opening their next location directly across the street from us.
Yeah, I see the build out going on there.
So do I every day.
Yeah.
He's never getting somewhere
That's
too.
what I see out the window.
Yeah.
But they've been super cool. We just released our first collab at our place Friday, which was a double dry hopped hazy. It came out. I think it came out really good. I'm really happy with it. Our next one, we just talked today. Actually, we're going to be brewing at their spot on Wednesday.
In Ottawa.
Yeah. So that should be cool. Their system is a little different, a little unique too. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes.
Didn't they get that system imported from Germany? I heard that through the grapevine.
Yeah. Ours is from Germany as well. So.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah, Speedle. Yeah.
Everything's in German. Everything is in metric. So I'm Celsius and liters and all that. So
Oh wow.
I convert it all. Don't get me wrong. I'm converting it all, but it's like
Freedom units.
every time from my Mac.
Freedom units, man.
Yeah, I convert back every time. But yeah, so they were super excited for us. There's a couple other restaurants. There's one that we've been talking to, Embers. They want to do some like beer pairing dinners and stuff in the future. So it should be
Very cool.
Yeah, it should be pretty cool. Like I'm pretty excited for it. So
We'll have to once I get established over here. We'll have to do a collab between 66 and you guys.
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Nice.
I actually used to go down to Wilmington all the time. I raced motocross back in the day. So there was a track
That little track they have down there off.
off of Arsenal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually used to work there. I used to
Okay.
work on the Bobcat and water the track and pick rocks and all that. And then we work the flagging and ride at the same time. My brothers and I would trade off so we could ride. So yeah, I was
wow.
like a really, really serious motocross racer for like almost 15 years. So and then I retired because
Almost 15 years racing motocross. That's awesome.
Yeah, just about because I started when I was like 12. Yeah, I was 12 when I
Wow.
first raced, and like
Oh man.
full speed. That was all my whole life for a good chunk of all that, and then kind of tapered off, and then retired. Like my whole family, we all raced, so it was like that's what we did. Like all of our vacations revolved around riding. We'd haul the bikes down to Florida or Alabama or wherever it was warmer in the winter to ride, and that's all we did.
Wow.
Not
Yeah.
sure this will ring true for Jason, knowing our past together, but I am way too risk averse to do something like that.
It's not as crazy. I don't know. At least in my mind, it wasn't as. I mean, we definitely had our share of injuries and ambulances and helicopters and whatnot, but
In helicopters?
Yeah.
not me. But yeah, my brother had to take a flight.
Had a medevac?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. What a story. So from motocross to brewing. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I mean, I kind of like got started when I was still racing when I started brewing. So I'd bring home like my home brew to the track and stuff because we'd be there all weekend. We had an RV and all that.
Sure.
We'd be there the weekend. So Saturday or more Friday night because we'd race Sunday. So Saturday we wouldn't drink too much, but
Yeah.
Friday we'd have a few beers and have a fire and bring some home brew and stuff. So yeah, that's kind of when I got started.
That's a great time.
Yeah.
You were the most popular guy there. No question about it.
I didn't bring that much home brew, but
not that much. Well, nevertheless, people gravitated towards that. They're like, oh, hey, he's got homebrew, right?
Yeah, I don't think you need to bring much.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless you're
Oh,
like me,
man.
you decide to supply a party, you show up with 40 gallons of homebrew.
Unless you're like Paulie. Yeah.
I have brought kegs to weddings. Like my wife and I, when we got married, we had my beer on tap at the reception.
Yeah.
And then friends of ours got married in Chicago, and they just had like a picnic reception. So I hauled a keg of homebrew and had it sticking out of the cooler with ice, and had the picnic on that. And so that was cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's probably going to be in my
cool.
not so distant future too. So
Yeah, we got married out in Colorado, and we hauled a keg of homebrew out there for the ceremony, and then the reception back here, we had 3 beers on tap. So
I'm thinking when that happens, if I'm able to come out, which I'll be able to come out, I'll have to load up a keg or two in my car and drive it out for sure.
Yep.
So yeah.
We'll figure it out, Jason.
Yeah.
We'll brew some beer
yeah.
just for your wedding.
We'll get first things first. Let's get through the winter. Make sure the world is still intact, and then yes, I think what I foresee in the middle part of next year is I think the volume of beer will not be an issue.
Yeah.
However, that comes to fruition.
I feel like you have a couple homebrew clubs that would ride to your rescue if you needed it.
Yeah, you got some friends that would
most likely. I'm not putting anybody out, but most likely. And I know a guy in Virginia who makes some really good product too. So
he tries.
Give me the people's eyebrow there. That was nice. Oh, that was awesome. Wow. I've never seen you do that before. Wow. Okay. I can't do that.
So I can't do it at will. It just kind of happens. So
just kind of happens. Okay.
Chad, it sounds like you're off to a good start. I mean, I know you said that you feel like you maybe are the guy that, you wouldn't be the first pick, but you're there now and you're making the best of it and you're doing the best you can.
Yeah.
And, it sounds like you're getting better and better, which is all anybody can ask for a new brewery. So keep at it, sir. And you're living a lot of people's dreams. So
Absolutely.
Definitely a good thing.
Yeah.
Me and Jason were there about a month ago when we set the date for you to be on here. And that was probably my 3rd or 4th time, because I usually stop by after work on the way home from Brewing Grow. Because it's either I stop by you guys or I stop at Metal Monkeys, however I'm depending. Or I go on a rotation type of deal. Oh, I haven't been to Metal Monkey in a minute. I go stop and say hi to them.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Paul. Well, I know you're not normally there, so Paul's usually there when I get to see him. So.
Yeah.
Who else is there? I know it's Paul and you, and is his wife there too?
Yeah.
Behind the bar?
She's there every once in a while. She still has her full-time teaching job, so
okay.
I see her occasionally there. But he's got a few other people working the bar. It's one of the things I try and just stick to the beer side and just.
That's the best part.
Yeah, I mean, that's just.
That is the best part. I just gotta make sure the bar is full and happy.
Yeah.
So if you're Chad, he's Paul. Who's Nick and Ivy?
So it's funny. It's his last name, but like flipped around. It's his last name. So he wanted. I think originally it was going to be Ivy Brewing, and his lawyer was like, not too many other names close to that. You got to do something different. So they came up with that, and so it just took his name and flipped it around, and so it's Nick.
Okay.
So there is no Nick really. So
okay.
I feel like we
Sounds
need to
good.
we need to do a beer and like have a name in reference to that some way, but haven't figured that part out yet. But our Tangled Ivy though with Tangled Roots was threw that name out, and that seems to be a hit. It was a good name. Now our next one we got to come up with a good name, but yeah, that's I'm looking forward to more collabs with other breweries and stuff, and yeah, once you guys are ready, like we'll definitely do one with Route 66. That'd be awesome. So,
Right on.
yeah.
Right on. Well, it's great
All
to
right.
meet you, Chad. Thank you so much for joining.
Hey, thanks for having me. This is
Yeah,
cool.
man.
Like this is my first like I didn't do during quarantine all that. Never did any Zoom stuff at all.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's like the first video thing. My wife was doing like Zoom stuff with her friends and whatnot. I was like, I don't do that. But
Well, you did great.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Do you have a website or social media links you want to throw out for Nick and Ivy?
just find us on Facebook, Nick and Ivy Brewing. The website I think is Nick and Ivy, but I mean Facebook is going to be more up to date than anything else.
Okay.
That's
And are
probably,
you guys registered on Untapped as well, or?
yes, yeah, he's kept that up to date.
Okay.
So you can see our beers on there as well and all that. So
Okay.
yeah.
Cool. Right on.
All right.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
Today's October 15th. We do the webcast here every Thursday at 6 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. If you can't wait till next Thursday to catch more of me and George and Polly and all of our various guests, you can check out our YouTube page for all of our past episodes. We have episodes going back to the beginning of the quarantine. Our website is www.aniceplacetobrew.com. We're on all the social media platforms at A Nice Place to Brew and Nice Place to Brew. And our audio podcast is available on all the audio platforms, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, and all those other podcasting places. Have a great weekend, everybody. We will see you back next week for a non-conventional episode. And I'm going to leave it right to that. We will keep an eye on the social media. I will give more context to what that means before the show, but we look forward to it. All right.
Okay, and before we cheers, I do want to say we're now on Audible as well.
We are on Audible as well under the name A Nice Place to Brew. I have lots of questions about that. All right.
Okay.
Have a good one, everybody.
All right.
And before we sign off, we raise a glass and we say, it takes a lot of good beer to make great beer. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.